Hello, Crow Coven. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Crowmates Apothecary, and in today's video, we are going to be looking into your April 2024 predictions. So this can be things that are going to be coming your way. It could be obstacles that you need to overcome or just certain situations that you are finding yourself in during the month of April. And we're going to see if we can get some advice and help to navigate those situations. But in this video, I'm actually doing something a little bit differently before we get started, so don't just quickly choose your pile. I actually pulled two separate cards that I will be revealing at the end of this little intro here, where this is going to be kind of the overall vibe or the overall just feeling for the collective, because I'm getting this draw that a lot of times we are all going through sort of similar chapters, and this is going to kind of help point us in the right direction as to what everyone is going through. And then you're going to be able to pick one of the four groups here to listen to that will give you that more personalized reading. So of course, remember to like the video if you like it, join the Crow Coven by hitting the subscribe button, and also leave me a comment down below if you like this overall kind of collective cards being pulled at the beginning as well. It's just something new I wanted to try. So what I did for today's reading is I've actually sat down and I meditated on each of the groups, and I pulled 6 cards for each group before we got into this. And so these are going to be the actual cards that I'm going to be reading for you. I'm blind on it though, I don't know what's in here. And so to get started, on the far left side, this is going to be for group 1. You guys are going to be represented by this zebra jasper. And then for group 2, you guys will be represented by this black tourmaline. Group 3 will be this piece of raw crystal quartz. And then group 4 will be represented by this pink agate. So feel free to take a moment to meditate on these. If you need to pause the video in order to make a selection, go ahead and do so. And then afterwards, I'm going to now go into what the collective cards are. So the cards that I have pulled are the 4 of Wands in the reverse position and the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse position. So the overall feeling that I'm getting for the collective with these 2 cards, and these came out like together. It wasn't like I pulled one, continued to shuffle, and then pulled. They came out at the same exact time. So it feels very pointed that they're together. It feels almost as if a lot of us are dealing with some issues revolving around either conflict avoidance, or because there's something that's happening on the outside that we feel like we don't have any control over, we're having a hard time reining that in and being able to be the one that kind of leads our own charge. It almost feels like we're being stopped by other people or other situations, and we do feel out of control, and we do feel like this is kind of a hit to our just our overall mindsets when it comes to things. Like, we're feeling very stuck. And I think some big things to note is that while this is a negative external force that is stopping us, our minds are very, very powerful, and we can always change things for the better. So let's keep that in mind for all of us. And then also, I believe that we need to really have an increased focus on our goals and properly setting goals, and then actually striving toward them to make slow baby steps. So this is going to be kind of for everyone right now. So let's keep this in mind as we go into our readings. So go ahead and make your decision now on which one of these 4 that you'd like to choose from. And then when you've made your decision, head on down to the description box below and then click on the timestamp that corresponds with the group that you chose. And now, without further ado, let's get into your reading. Hello, group 1. Let's get into this. So we are going to be discussing your April 2024 predictions. And you guys chose this zebra jasper, and this can really help in wanting to see past certain illusions and really get to the bottom of things. So kind of as we were discussing before with the collective cards, it feels like you're going to kind of try to push it a little bit more. I'm getting this overall feeling of you're kind of going into detective mode and you're trying to figure out the root problem during the month of April. You're going to try to figure out who it is that's causing these external issues and why these keep coming up, and you're trying to steer it in a better direction. So we will get further confirmation as to what is going on as we pull your tarot. The first thing I would like to do is roll this astro dice just to see if we can pull out either your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps the people who will be most important in your life during this time. I will actually move these cards. So the first one we're seeing is Scorpio. Next, we have Taurus. Woo. And then next we have Capricorn. So that is some very like headstrong, I'm going to get things done energy from all three of those signs. So let's go ahead and get right into this. So the first we're seeing is the 10 of Wands. So there is this feeling of being overburdened and this feeling of you are taking on a lot of stress and putting yourself through a lot of hard work. But in the end, it's going to really reveal this sense of accomplishment for you. So it could be that April is just a time where you are kind of like nose to the grindstones, really putting in a lot of energy and putting in a lot of time commitment when it comes to that sort of energy. I feel like I want to pull the rest. So the Hanged Man in reversed, the 10 of Cups in the reverse position, the Queen of Cups in the reverse position, the 8 of Wands in the reverse position. There's a lot of reversals here. And last but not least, we have Strength. Beautiful, a beautiful ending there with that Strength card coming out. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what way I want to do this. So this could have to do with, this really could deal with some sort of home life situation. When I was talking earlier about the collective cards, discussing how it feels like some sort of external force, something is happening to where you're feeling like you need to avoid conflict. This could be almost a relationship conflict that's happening. Or it could be a very, very close-knit friend group, like a kind of like a found family sort of situation. It could be a community of some sorts, but for the most part, this feels more personal. This feels way more like a deeper relationship. And we're seeing this in how the Hanged Man reverse kind of, again, gives us that stuck energy where it feels like there's this need to pause and you are having a hard time being able to see things from a new perspective. And because of that, your judgment is kind of clouded. There's a lot of indecision that's going on in your life. We're seeing, again, that sort of delay here with the 8 of Wands reverse. This card is normally very, very fast. But this is, again, very clear-cut a delay card. There's some sort of need to hold off from something. And so we're seeing in the center, we've got the 10 of Cups reversed and the Queen of Cups reversed. And with both of these, this does give about some sense of, there could be issues regarding an imbalance with your work and family life. And because of this imbalance, that is causing stress on a family. The 10 of Cups upright is normally like this beautiful scene of them celebrating. Obviously, they have like their children there with them. There's that 10, which is of course all about like harmony and being able to finally see something come to fruition. And because it's reversed for you guys, it does feel like there is some sense of almost like a broken home or a broken relationship that's happening. And so I think that for some of you, this is very, very clear-cut, a situation where this could have been what happened in March or even early April, is that a relationship breaks down And there's going to be this need for strength and perseverance to be able to move forward. A lot of hard work on your end to push through this. But it feels almost like there isn't progress on either side of these because we're seeing these delays. So while you may be gung-ho and wanting to really push forward, there isn't a lot of progress being made at this point in time. For others of you, this could be a situation where you're suspecting something is going on. You're suspecting that maybe this relationship isn't going to follow through the way that you wanted it to, and you've been putting in a lot of time and energy, and obviously there's this delay, this indecision that's happening because you're not sure if you want to like break up. You're not sure if they want to break up. There's something really holding you back, but when you get to the very innermost of everything to it, you can recognize how it feels like they're either prioritizing work over you, or they're prioritizing someone else, or maybe you have to prioritize work because you have to make money to pay the bills and they're not seeing it as that. There's some sort of misalignment with you and another person. So again, this doesn't have to be fully romantic. This could be a friendship that is breaking down. This could be a breakdown within family members or just a household in general. So say you live with a bunch of friends, there could be a breakdown there. So whatever works for your situation. But overall, we did end with strength. And so that gives me this positive feeling of whatever is going to happen, you are okay. It could be that this is just a much needed and perhaps harsh learning moment in life. Or it's something that you are going to be able to work through with this person or people, whatever is being involved here, you're going to be able to work through it with them. Strength does talk about having courage. It talks about having patience, and being able to have compassion for another person and yourself as well. So make sure that you do what you can to try to collect as much information as possible. Try not to jump to conclusions. We sometimes see that with the Queen of Cups reversed. She deals with emotion, so this could be some sort of emotional insecurity as well, where there's this panic and this need to be almost clung onto another person. I was very much earlier feeling like some sort of like work situation, but it could be even that they could be feeling dependent on another person, or maybe you feel dependent on another person. But I'm really getting this feeling that in this, just be careful of your emotional state during the month of April. Try not to let it rule you during this time. Overall, it does feel like with our collective cards from before, it does feel like currently this situation is out of your control. It feels like someone else kind of is the one that is leading the charge on this. So you have to kind of just hold on. I do think that facing your fears is going to be a big thing that you're going to need to do during this time. And just know that whatever this all is, this does have to do with eventually coming to a point of realizing your destiny. The Wheel of Fortune upright is a destiny card, so with it being reversed, this could indicate that you're currently not following the right path, and whatever is happening is going to eventually break and lead you down this proper path. So let's go ahead and get a few more cards out on the table for you guys. Spirit, can we get some more information? The first card we have coming out is Curiosity. So you being curious can really help with processing and help with kind of getting to the bottom of things. If you just simply haven't spoken with this person, whoever, or these people, whatever this is involving, it may be the time for you to kind of open up and have a discussion with them. We also have preparation showing up. So this is a great time for you to really sit down and figure out and prioritize the things that are important to you, and also prepare potentially for some level of change that could be happening as well. So just keep that in mind during April, that this might be something important for you to just really keep your eye on. Let's go ahead and pull a few more cards. We pulled the Untitled, which says live in the now. So no matter what is going on, try not to get so stuck on yourself with thinking about the past or thinking about the future. So there can be times where we almost get blinded by the things that could have been and the things that could still be, that we end up getting to the point where we can't see what is happening in the now. And that can really end up clouding your judgment and can really end up being a detriment to you. So even though you may be sort of future bound, you may be more worried about what is going to be happening next. Again, we're here doing a predictions video. Like you're watching to try to find out what's going to happen. It might just be that you needed this kind of kick in the butt of remember to live in the now as well, because perhaps even this issue that is being caused is because you're either looking back in the past or you're looking too far in the future, and that is what is causing some sort of tension here as well. Again, it's sort of a tango with however many parties are involved, but kind of try to really recenter yourself during April and not get swept up either one way or the other is one of the big messages that I have for you, group 1. Let's get a couple more cards out for you guys. First card I have coming out is Heart's Ease, and it says learn by fully feeling. So we don't want to shut off our emotions. We don't want to get to the point where we just feel them at a surface level as well. Because some people can be very, very scared of being vulnerable and actually learning from their emotions. So making sure that you have the wherewithal to go forward and learn from the things that you are deeply, deeply feeling. We're seeing that obviously that Queen of Cups reversed. We're seeing that 10 of Cups reversed, that feeling of deep, turbulent emotions, and feeling as if you need to rely on another person in order to be happy, or there's some need for reliance of this being upright, having that happiness in the home for you to be happy. So make sure that you do process those feelings, because you're feeling them for a reason, obviously. Like it's important and you should be validated in that, but not allowing it to take over. So don't feel it surface level. Don't feel it so harshly that you can't feel anything else. Next, we have Third Eye, and it says intuition and expansion. So really believing in yourself and your intuition during this time. And with expansion, that kind of gives me this feeling of whatever you're going through in April is meant to be. Like it feels like a learning point. It feels like a situation that you have to be processing and you have to experience in order to jump into a higher frequency for yourself. And that can be really, really hard to come to terms with, especially if this is something like a breakup or a family dissolving or a friend group dissolving or something like that. It can be very scary to hear and very, very painful, but overall, it does end up being something that you completely learn from, and you're able to step into a higher strength within yourself. So just know that the month of April is going to be you learning a lot. You're going to have to trust yourself because there's something that you may be hiding from. You may be like it's in your subconscious, but you're not facing it because you are afraid of it. But I feel like you do need to bring that to the forefront, and that is going to give you, again, that expansion. It's going to give you that chance to grow and form into a stronger person. So let's get into some of your self-care cards. I would love to see what group 1 can do during this time to kind of help them process, prepare, calm down, anything like that. The first one we have coming out is Flow Like Water. So we have this card here, and this gives me this Queen of Cups feeling as well, with it being the water, so dealing with your emotions, going with the flow, allowing yourself to fully feel it, being submersed in it, but not to the point where you're drowning. You can take this as a very literal card in the sense of if you are someone who enjoys baths, if you're someone who enjoys going to the beach, things like that, it might be prudent for you to go and enjoy those things during the month of April, so you can give yourself that time to sort of meditate and relax. What else do we have? We also have a dance coming out. So very, very, I suddenly got the feeling of like very high energy kind of dance. Obviously you can do more slow and smooth styles of dance as well, but I got this feeling of like needing to get my energy out as soon as I saw this card. So there may be a need for you to express yourself in this way. If you are a dancer, if you're somebody who likes to go out and party, this might be something that can really help you express yourself during this time as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull one more, I feel like. Lastly, we have coming out is Cleanse Your Energy Field. So if you've ever gotten to the point where you just feel very, very stagnant, like the Hanged Man reverse gives me that feeling, as does the Eight of Wands reversed. If you feel very stagnant in your life, if you feel like the energy around you isn't moving properly, this may be the time for you to clear out your energy field and not to forget certain spaces that you may not think about. So everyone always cleanses out their home, but also remember to cleanse your workplace, because there are times where people will just absolutely forget that they spend so much of their week in a workspace and they haven't cleansed it, and then they're carrying all of that stress as well. Like, even though they have left all the home stuff at home, it will come there and sort of manifest, and then when you leave work, it gets re-energized, then you go back into the workplace, and it just keeps that cycle going. So go ahead and remember to do that as well. And also your car. I know that's a little strange, but also clearing out the energy from your car can also be very helpful. I'm going to go ahead and pull 2 more cards for you guys. What do we have for group 1, please, Spirit? Final message. Ooh, we pulled Chocolata, and this card says release your past. So we were talking earlier about the fact that there is a need to live in the moment. There's something that you may be clinging onto that is just causing such a detriment to yourself and your mindset. And so April could be a good time for you to really try to process those emotions and those feelings that you have from the past and really try to let go of them during this time. Again, a need to live in the present is very forward for you guys. So in whatever way you need to do that, try to look into that during April. And the very last card that I have for you guys today is this one here. It says, you are always just one decision away from a magically different life. And I kind of talked about this before, where it feels like you're kind of straying a little bit from your destiny, and there's something that's going to be shifting that for you. It may be an external force sort of thing that is shifting this for you, but whatever it's going to be, it will end up pointing you in the right direction, because the universe is always trying to guide you toward that path. So even if what you're going through is highly stressful right now, you are going to be guided, you are protected, and you are going to be able to see this through with your own strength and abilities. I definitely believe in you guys. I do see a strength from you that even if you don't feel it currently, you are going to be able to push through and process and expand, which is what we always want to be doing. We always want to be expanding. So again, if you guys liked this reading, remember to leave a like. Also, if this resonated with you, remember to leave a comment as well down below. If you could put a little shell emoji in there for me to know that you did get to the end of your reading, that would be great. And also join the Crow Coven by subscribing. I would love to see you guys in future readings as well. But just keep in mind that with tarot, with everything, we all have free will. We all have the ability to change things and really be able to take things into our own hands. So hopefully this was here to help you prepare and maybe calm you before you head into April. Anyway, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your April 2024 predictions reading. So we're going to go ahead and get started into this video immediately. I will set this aside real fast because the very first thing I wanted to do is I want to roll your astro dice to see if we can pull out either your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps the sun, moon, or rising of people who are going to have great importance in your life during this time. So the first one we are seeing coming out is Pisces. Ooh, next we have Gemini. Ooh, and lastly we have Sagittarius, and that just kind of like dropped. That was very strong Sagittarius energy. So let's talk a little bit about your black tourmaline that you chose. So with this black tourmaline, this can really help you filter out negative energy. It can really help also repel and negate negative energy as well. So kind of combined with the zodiac signs that we pulled, it kind of gives off this feeling of, with Gemini and Sagittarius being very forward signs, I see this almost as kind of a moment where you guys are almost sick of what's been happening, like how we discussed in the collective cards, that it feels out of your control and it feels very much like there's some sort of external force that is pushing something onto you. Especially Gemini and Sagittarius gives me this feeling of like, I don't want to be sitting in this anymore. I'm sick of this. I'm going to do something about it. Pisces is a little bit kind of the opposite of that. Some Pisces people are known to kind of sit and wallow in things, not to not to harp on you guys or draw something negative to you, but it almost feels like kind of like, of course this sort of thing would happen to me. I try to put my energy out there. I try to help people, but then it hurts kind of thing. That's the kind of feeling. So that's why I feel like we need this protection here. We need some sort of filter to help those Pisces who are going to be watching this to filter out whatever this negative energy is to protect you guys during this time. So let's go ahead and get into the cards. So as I said before, I went ahead and sat down and pulled all these. I have no idea what's going to be in here, but I'm going to just go ahead and lay them all out on the table. The first we're seeing is the Chariot in the reverse position. I say that I'm going to lay them all out, but then I'm laughing about this because that really, again, gives that feeling of like lack of control. Like you don't have the reins, so it feels very chaotic. We have the Six of Cups in the reverse position, the Three of Cups in the reverse position, the Star in the reverse position, the Four of Pentacles in the reverse position, and lastly, the Knight of Swords. So we are ending on a upright card at the very least. This is very, very funny to me because group one also had a lot of reversals, specifically up here. So it's interesting that we are seeing so many reversals. Even in our collective cards, these were both reversed as well. So we're all going through it is kind of what it feels like. So let's get into this. So obviously I kind of pulled from the Chariot reverse, that feeling of being stuck, that feeling of it not being in our control is really, really present for all of us. But for for this group in particular, it feels almost aggressive. It feels like something chaotically went out of our control and we are left picking up the pieces, or we are trying to get our lives back on track. And because of this, it can be extremely frustrating and it can feel like you want to give up. So for some of us, this feeling that I'm getting is that there is a potential past situation that is coming to the forefront of your mind or was brought back up recently. So this could be a past friendship. This could be a past heartache, either a relationship that broke down, a loss of a person more strongly. And for some of us, it's going to be that someone cheated on you and these emotions are getting brought back up and you're going to have to face it. And it's going to really lead you down a sort of like downward spiral for a little bit of time. And I want to be very, very honest and kind of brutal about that, just so we can actually get to the bottom of these things and we can actually prepare ourselves during this time. Again, it feels very out of your control. How we talked about in the collective cards with the Five of Wands reversed, this discusses the fact that we are needing to focus on our goals. We want to fix the chariot wheel that has flown off into the distance because we can't get anywhere without it. And we could possibly be wanting to look away from any sort of conflict that could be coming up. So this could be a fresh breakup. But for most of you, it feels like this is a past thing that is being resurfaced. And then the Wheel of Fortune reversed gives off this feeling like this is completely out of our control. This is caused by someone else. And because we are having to deal with it, it is making us very, very frustrated. It also gives off this feeling of that sort of like someone may have done this thing maliciously, which we obviously don't want that, which again, we have that black tourmaline to really help protect us during this time. So I do see this as being something that is going to bring about a lot of heartache and it's going to bring about a lot of, for some reason, I got this feeling of imposter syndrome. I don't know why. It just feels like, especially in the Star reversed, there is this discouragement and despair that is going to be plaguing you during this time. And it's going to really bring about this sense of you maybe not even necessarily knowing who you are, maybe in like the middle of the month. It feels so out of control. And because it does, like you may normally have such a strong foundation of who you are, but because you are being put in such a highly stressful situation, you're starting to see your emotions come out in ways that you are not particularly fond of and may be stressing over. And because of this, you're kind of falling into that imposter syndrome. You're falling into that sort of despair where you just aren't sure that you know yourself anymore. And that may further lead you towards this Four of Pentacles, which this does talk about a need for self-protection. Sometimes it talks about being extremely greedy and needing to really focus on being conservative with like your money, because you feel like you're on shaky ground. It's that foundation that's being flipped on its head. But for the most part, the feeling that I'm getting is that if it does have to do with your finances, you're being greedy and you're being very conservative with your money because of that need for self-protection. So in whatever way, I see you kind of going through this situation where these thoughts, emotions, feelings are coming up from a past issue or a past hurt. And that is going to kind of make things go off the rails a little bit. But you're going to try to overcompensate by protecting yourself, which is not a bad thing. Don't try to go too hard to the point where you're actually like hurting yourself by like working too much overtime or being too materialistic to where you like are like, I can't buy anything at all, even if it would bring me joy, because like I have to make sure things are okay. I'm getting the sense of you just needing, you're doing it almost out of a like defense mechanism is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. I also want to go back to this Six of Cups here reversed. There could be a situation where you may be having unrealistic ideals when it comes to how you should be feeling about a certain situation. That might not make any sense to anybody. I just felt this really sudden need to say it, is that you may be thinking to yourself, for example, like say you went through a very bad breakup recently or in the past and it still weighs on you and you're sitting there going like, why am I still thinking about this? I absolutely don't care about that person anymore whatsoever. Why do they keep getting brought up? I should be completely over this. And then that's going to start triggering this kind of downward spiral kind of thing. So try to recognize that within yourself. If you are seeing this happen, just know that your own healing and whatever grief that you are going through is valid, and you are allowed to take all the time that you need in order to process your emotions and to not be so strictly harsh on yourself. I do see overall that there is this clarity specifically coming from the mind, because we are seeing the Knight of Swords in this last position here. And the Knight of Swords does give me kind of the Sagittarius and Gemini combo almost, where it feels like the Knight is always very fast. This is a fast talker. This is somebody who's very highly communicative, and they want to get things done. They know what to do, and they're going to push forward. They're going to get their opinions out there, and they're going to rush ahead. And so I feel like you're going to reach a point almost where you're like, I'm sick of this. And you're going to like throw your hands up and try to like push forward and just rush into this sense of healing or trying to take back control of your life, because we have all been feeling so out of control. And this is kind of like a direct, like kind of opposite to where we're seeing in the Chariot. The only thing is we want to make sure that we're not being so hasty that we're making decisions that could be detrimental to us, or rushing so fast, so quickly that we can't allow ourselves time to process. However, the Knight of Swords, the swords deal with mental state. So it could be that maybe you shove your emotions down and you kind of go with your head in order to get over things. So this could be you kind of trying to fight back from whatever the situation is. So go you, but also just know that you don't have to get all of this done in April. You don't have to be fully healed by the end of it or anything. Just know that whatever it is that you're going through, I see that you have a lot of inner strength that is going to guide you during this time. So let's go ahead and get a few more cards out on the table to get any further messages for you, Group 2. The first one I'm seeing is illusion. Looking past illusions. So either if someone is currently leading you down this path to where there may be a breakup or there's some upset in a friend group or something, you seeing past the illusions of what people are showing you and actually recognizing things for what they are may be very important for you during this time. Also, this gives off the feeling of like, while you're looking in a mirror, you're looking at something that simply, not that it doesn't exist, because it's you're seeing yourself in the mirror, but it's not something that you can tangibly reach out and touch and have it be another person. You're just going to touch that glass. So it could be that you are looking back on your past and you're seeing all of these things, you're seeing these memories, but again, they're just memories and you can't do anything to change them. So if that's something that you may need to recognize and hear, is like, yes, you may be able to look into that mirror, but you can't change the image that's there unless you do something on your side of the image. That might be something to keep in mind during this time. For some of you, it could be that you also are not deluding yourselves, but you could be trying your best to make up illusions that you want to believe, so you don't have to deal with the reality of certain situations. And I'm calling myself out there specifically. Next, we have resistance. So you're going to have to resist something. You're going to have to resist maybe your own mental state. If you're someone who struggles with mental health issues, you may have to really resist that pull. I totally know how it feels. You may have to resist this feeling of needing to rush forward without any real plan. There may be opposition in your life, other people that may be opposing you that you kind of have to fight against as well. But with all that wind pushing on this crow here, they're still confidently flying through this storm. And just know that your wings are strong enough to really carry you through this, is kind of that feeling that I'm getting. Let's go ahead and pull a few more cards for you guys. The first one I have coming out is Lepidolite, which says, recall your dreams. So this could be taken in the way of like spiritually recalling your actual like dreams that you have at night, and kind of process and really delve into them and see what they could possibly mean for you. There's always times where you can find meaning and symbolism behind the things that you dream. So try to look inward and what it could mean for you. The other thing is, obviously, recalling your dreams, recalling the things that you have always wanted to achieve, because we talked a little bit more about that need to really focus on your goals. You may need to shift your attention towards these goals that you had for a certain dream that you wanted to achieve, and you've been kind of putting off or ignoring because of whatever the situation has been that's been going on. And then also the Wheel of Fortune is normally a destiny card. It's normally a card talking about you coming into your fullest self. And because it's reversed, you're currently in that state to where you're not on that right path. So there's something going on in April that is going to really shift this and make it so you have to start looking toward this higher calling and this turning point of your destiny. It might not coming this month, it might not be resolved, but this is kind of like progress. You're seeing a way through kind of this storm and being able to take steps for yourself, is the overall feeling that I'm getting. Pull just a few more for you, group 2. First card that I have coming out is Third Quarter, which says, I connect with nature at my own pace. So not pushing yourself and having to like launch into any sort of healing or launch into any sort of, I don't know, again, like nature, needing to push yourself into your more natural self. In the way that you hold yourself, you can do it in your own time, because it does feel very rocky. As I said before, if I'm speaking with people who do struggle with mental health stuff like I do, it can be very hard when we know where our baseline is and we know how we act at our baseline, but when we're struggling and going through stresses, we feel so out of it, and we can talk really bad on ourselves because we aren't approaching our baseline again. So just know that you can connect to your natural and normal, quote unquote, self at the time that is appropriate for you. I know that's only going to resonate with a couple people, but as someone who does deeply struggle with mental health things, I like to make it known that this is something that I struggle with because I think it's extremely important, because it's not talked about enough. Just know that you going at your own pace is completely valid. It can also be, obviously, if you guys need to go out into nature. I just didn't want to go down that route because, come on, we all want the weather to change. We all want it to be nicer out. Next, we have throat coming out. Truth and communication. Gemini is a highly communicative sign, as is Sagittarius, as is the Knight of Swords, as we saw. You need to open your mouth and say something. There's something that needs to be said, whether it's you needing to say affirmations for yourself, or you need to have a discussion with someone. There's some reason why this keeps coming up. And I feel like you are good with your words, even if you don't think you are. Like, I'm somebody who I do not think I'm good with my words. Like, I'm constantly stuttering over my words, and my mind is going like a million miles an hour, and my voice has to catch up. I feel like I do write things better. So if this is a communication of you needing to write something in order to get it out, that could be something that you can lean on. But for the most part, I'm getting this feeling of you needing to speak it out. There's something that needs to be said. I think it needs to be said to someone. If you're watching this, you might know what I'm trying to hint at, but it just feels as if there's something there that needs to be done. I'm going to pull 2 self-care cards. The first one we have is family. So this doesn't have to be blood-related family. This can also be found family. So whatever family is important to you during this time, try to rely on them, because I think they're going to give you a lot of love and support. And we also have, well, we have 2 because I ended up pulling 2. So I'm going to do all 3 of these. We have deep breathing. See that expansion there above the mind? Being able to connect with your mind can also help you connect with your throat chakra and really be able to speak the truth that you have. So doing deep breathing exercises can really help you calm down during this time. If you've never done box breathing before, perhaps look into a meditation on how to do box breathing. We also have chanting, so this kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. This could also indicate a mantra of some sorts, some sort of like positive affirmation. If you want to say something every day to kind of help calm you down, that could also be imperative during the month of April. And then I will pull these last 2. So for group 2, what last messages do we have? Ooh, I love this card. This card is Polpo, and it says, embrace the shadow self. So there is definitely a lot of indications of mental health stuff, past stuff that could be coming to haunt you during the month of April that you have been stressing over, that maybe have made themselves known more recently. You need to really embrace that side of yourself and know that it isn't something scary. It's something that you can actually control, and you can actually control, and you can go ahead and allow into your life and not be afraid of. One last message for you, group 2. Oof. So we're seeing the card give love, create love, be love, love, receive love, emanate love, speak love, and anchor love. Just know at the core of everything that you are someone who is highly loved. You can foster deep love within yourself. You can have deep love for other people, even if you were hurt in the past and feel like you can't have or give that, you absolutely can. And it's going to be something that does give you a lot of strength during the month of April. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. This was a long one and I had so much to say, so sorry that I sort of sped through it. Remember to like the video if you liked it or it resonated with you. Join the Crow Coven by hitting the subscribe button. And also, if you did get this far in your reading, leave a little mushroom emoji in the comment box below to let myself and others know that you did get this far. And again, thank you guys so much for watching this far, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your April 2024 predictions. So in this reading, we are going to go ahead and delve into the things that could be obstacles in your way this month. It could be things coming your way, anything like that. So in order to get started, I am going to go ahead and roll this Astro Dice first, because we're going to see if we can pull out your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps the zodiac sign of people in your life who are going to be important during this time. So the first one we are seeing coming out is Scorpio. That rolled so far, but we have Leo. And lastly, we have Cancer. So set that one aside. And then for today's video, you guys chose this raw piece of crystal quartz as the indicator for your group. And this is really going to help amplify and really just facilitate a sense almost of newness. Is this feeling that I'm getting with this crystal here, is this feeling of you being able to process things a lot faster. And also, again, things are going to be amplified. So I get the feeling that if you have had questions, such as we heard a little bit from the collective cards that I read from earlier, I'm getting this feeling like things are going to come to a head in April for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's see how prepared we can be for April. So we are seeing the Queen of Wands in the reverse position. We have the Two of Swords, the Three of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Lovers in the reverse position. Honestly, not surprised in seeing the Lovers there after we saw that Three of Swords. So this is very straightforward for me to read. I am hoping beyond everything that you guys are kind of on the same wavelength, because I don't want this to be a blindsided kind of situation for you, but this is kind of what we're going to be talking about. So let's go ahead and get started with the fact that this, of course, feels like we talked about in our collective cards that we pulled. We have the Five of Wands in the reverse and the Wheel of Fortune reversed. It feels like there's something that is out of your control that either just happened or is going to happen. And this is something where you could be avoiding this conversation. You could be trying to avoid almost the inevitable that may be happening. And because of this, it does feel very much like it is out of your control. It feels very much like there is someone or something that is, as an external force, is pushing this sort of narrative onto you and pushing this sort of outcome onto you. So this is not, it feels like this isn't your choice or what you would have wanted for this to go down, is kind of the overall feeling that I'm getting. We're seeing here in the Queen of Wands this either feeling of you really, really pulling back into your shell, or you're going the opposite way and you're getting very aggressive and demanding for an answer on something. This doesn't necessarily have to be you. This could be someone in your life who is kind of giving off this vibe. They could be getting very aggressive and demanding of you. But for the most part, I almost got the feeling that this is you guys, because I feel like you're sick of what's been going on. You're sick of those collective cards where it's out of your control and you haven't been able to have a say for whatever reason. And because of this, you are kind of getting to your boiling point. You're reaching this point in your life that you need to make a decision. And it's very hard for you because I'm getting the feeling that most of you do not want this to pass. In the Two of Swords, we do have this indecision. There's this inability right now to make a decision because partly for some of you, it's because you don't have all the information. For others of you, it's because there are choices that you can't see the outcome to, and because of this, you don't want to step into that unknown. You don't want to make the wrong choice. There's something there, and that is causing you to just sit there holding those two swords with that blindfold on, unable to kind of finally go down that path that you know or want to go down. I can talk about blocked emotions, but a lot of the time it has to do with your mental mindset. So this could be that you are blocking out your emotions from being processed fully. And there could be potentially good reason for that, because in the Three of Swords, this is the heartbreak card. This is kind of like the breakup card. This could be separation on any level. So this could be a breakup with a partner. This could be a breakup with a friend that was just so close that it felt like you guys were just so deeply connected, and you have to pass this point where you no longer see eye to eye. There could be some sort of loss that you need to go through, and you are going to go through sort of the stages of grief. It is some connection that is so heavy that is going to put you through those grief stages. So this isn't you like just no longer talking to somebody who has been annoying you for a few days and you've only known them for like a couple months kind of. It's not like that. This is like more of a deep set pain that is going to be something that you have to process in April. In the Two of Pentacles, we are seeing this need for you to prioritize something, but also this need to move into a level of being able to adapt to a new life after you make this decision. This kind of almost reads as a like a time frame, whereas in the other groups it didn't. It feels like earlier on in the month, you're going to have this hard decision that you have to make and you don't want to make it. You're going to end up making the decision that is going to, at the very least, the thing I have to say for this is that for most of you, this is going to be, because I've been talking about it so intensely, it feels like you're taking back control and you are making this decision. For others of you, it could possibly be that it is still out of your control and you're just having to deal with picking up pieces afterwards kind of thing. But for a lot of you, I'm getting this energy of you're going to be the one that puts your foot down. So congrats to you guys, honestly. But then next after that, you're going to then have to adapt into a new sort of sense of self and into the need to process what it is that just happened. And then lastly, with this Page of Swords, we're seeing this new sort of energy that is going to be pumped into your life. The page is always kind of like a new start, and the swords deals with like your mental state. So it could be that you're going to have a new outlook on life. You may become suddenly much more curious about the things around you. Perhaps if you were weighed down by a past relationship, you may be curious about new people coming into your life. You may be curious about, like, say you were in a relationship where you didn't really talk to your friends. You're going to be like, you know what? I want to know what those guys are up to. Like, I want to talk with everybody again. So you're going to get this new quick energy about you that is going to feel like, again, a breath of fresh air. You may feel very energetic. You may feel very talkative during this time. But overall, the feeling that I'm getting is that we obviously saw the Lovers, and that's why I was kind of stressed when I saw these two because it gave off that feeling of that sort of romantic heartbreak. Like there was a union that needed to break up. This talks again about some sort of misalignment of values within one another. There's an imbalance somewhere. There's disharmony within a relationship, and there is potentially a need to break up. Not always. People can work through a lot of issues with one another. There can be certain lines that when they get crossed, people can come out the other side stronger beyond it. But for the most part, I'm getting this feeling like most of you are going to have that separation. And there's good reason. There's honestly good reason. I feel like we have all of this avoidance that's going on and this need to really be focused because we are not on the right path. There's something going on with us in our lives right now that is not pushing us down the correct path. And what you're going through in April is going to put you on that right path, because the Wheel of Fortune upright is a destiny card, and it tends to be a turning point card as well. It normally ends up being like something big is happening and it's going to change your like trajectory. Is that the right word? Trajectory. The trajectory of your life. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But it's trying to push you into that proper direction. And for some of you, I do see this as a breakup. And for others, I do see this as a need for you to focus more heavily on yourself instead of looking for other people and trying to rely on other people in pushing you up. You're instead going to rely very heavily on yourself. You're going to partake in a lot of self-care during the month of April, and you're going to listen to you, which is beautiful. We want you to listen to your intuition. So let's go ahead, group 3, and pull a few more cards for you guys. I want to keep pressing on. Any other messages, Spirit, for group 3? The first card we have is resistance coming out. So whatever hardship you're going through, you are going to be strong enough to push past it. So despite all of this wind blowing at this crow, they're able to rely on their wings and their own strength in order to push forward in whatever direction they want to go in, even if it is a direction that is giving them a lot of opposition. So I do feel like you are going to come up against opposition within April, but you're going to have that strength and wherewithal to push forward and see yourself stronger because of it. Got one more coming out. We have distance coming out. So this could be perhaps a need for you to draw some sort of distance within yourself and another person. This could be maybe you even needing to go somewhere, like some sort of vacation. Put some distance between you and this offending party, whatever it is that's going on. You may need to kind of separate in a certain way in order to kind of feel a little bit more collected within yourself. For some of you, this could be a need, like a calling for a vacation. It could be a calling for something else further. There could be a connection to someone who's long distance that this could be talking about. Perhaps as a long distance relationship that's breaking down. Or if it's not that, it could be a relationship, like a friendship that could be very important to you that you start getting curious about and you want to make this connection with them. This could also talk about wanting to go on a vacation, so needing to kind of start to plan that. Or even, I think I mentioned that. The other thing that I was trying to say, though, was for some of you, I'm getting this feeling of like wanting to like move or perhaps taking a job that is further out, kind of thing. Maybe this has been holding you back from not pursuing that. And because this has happened, you start to open your eyes to a different possibility. Keep all of those in mind, whatever resonates with you guys the most. Go ahead and pull another few cards for group 3. The first one we are seeing, ooh, this is such a pretty crystal, wow. This is Angel Aura Quartz. We all love this crystal. And it says, lighten up. Lighten up, guys. You're just going through hardships. Jeez. Sorry. Sorry, I'm a person who laughs through my traumas. So maybe that is something that you do too. Maybe you make like dark jokes or something in order to get out of your emotions, get out of whatever sadness that could be weighing you down. There could be a need to lighten up in the sense of like, maybe there's something heavy going on in your life. Well, obviously this, but like maybe in the sense of like, maybe you need to eat cleaner, or you have to like do some spring cleaning. There's something like a weight needing to be lifted is this feeling that I'm getting that feels different from, it feels different from just like, haha, let's like laugh and joke about things. It feels like an actual need to lighten up, whether that's clearing out your workspace, clearing out your home space, clearing out your car space for some of us, or again, needing to eat cleaner kind of thing could really help. Trying not to be so, you guys already don't seem super emotional. The only thing that we have as a water indicator here is Cancer that appeared in our zodiac signs. And so that kind of gives me this feeling that you guys don't really heavily deep your emotions that much, unless you're Cancer, you might. But it kind of almost feels like you kind of avoid your emotions more. So trying not to be pulled in by deeper emotions could be actually very beneficial. It's highly a coping mechanism to laugh through pain, but this may be the way that you need to get through the month, honestly. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes it is beneficial for us who actually prefer to laugh it off. Any other messages that we can get, please, Spirit, for group 3? Watch me pull a water sign. I didn't, but I thought I was gonna. So we have Amethyst coming out with intuition, believing in yourself during this time, trusting your gut. So if there's a decision that needs to be made, you know what needs to be done, is the overall feeling. I don't mean to be super like harsh with you guys, but the more and more readings that I do on YouTube, the more and more I feel like I am reading for a friend, and this unfortunately is how I would talk to them. I would be like, listen, you know what the hell you need to do. And I would just be so harsh. So I get this feeling that you guys, you know what it is, and you just don't want to make the decision. And I'm looking at you like a stern parent right now. Then we have Citrine with abundance. So you are going to have abundance. You are going to have this newness coming into your life, this positivity, like we talked about before with the Page of Swords especially. And citrine is always to me a very like happy crystal. It brings about such joy and energy with it. So I do see that for you. I don't see this as all bad. I just think you're going to be grieving a little bit, but I do think you're going to be laughing a lot too, because I think you're going to need it, which is not bad. But just know that you need to believe in yourself during this month, and that you will come out stronger and have abundance on the other side. And also you will have that positive, bright energy. Let's go ahead and get a couple more cards. Sorry, I am zoning out. We've got our self-care cards. What self-care does group 3 need to focus on during the month of April? I'm dropping everything, I'm sorry. The first card we have is Hydrate. So remember when I was talking about how we didn't have a lot of water symbolism? Now we have hydrate. This can be very much like you need to actually drink water because maybe you don't drink enough. But this can also talk about your emotions. It can talk about needing to go with the flow and needing to process things. So just do what you can, especially during April. If you're going through something so harsh, just do what you can. We also see the third eye open on this figure's head on here, so that gives me that feeling of intuition as well. So really being able to listen to yourself during this time. I'm going to pull one more of these self-care cards. This one tried to fall out earlier, so it must be extremely important. It slipped out and I put it back in the deck. So this is make a meal. So remember when I talked a little bit about lighten up, we had that need to maybe eat clean. This is talking about that again. So I feel like I'm calling myself out because I've been needing to jump back on the health bandwagon when it comes to food for some time now. And I keep putting it off and putting it off. So I'm taking this as a symbol for me that this needs to be done. Making your meals, putting a lot of positive affirmations and intention into the meals that you make, eating a lot cleaner. As you can see here, there's all of these fruits and veggies here. So focusing more on those rather than heavy meals can really do wonders during the month of April. And then let's get some last messages. What else does group 3 need to hear? Ooh, I love this card. This card is Trish Una, and on it says honesty with yourself. This gives off this feeling of self-care too, because this figure here really helps in speaking their truth and kind of like a cheerleader is able to kind of pull out the goodness from other people and really display it to them, and kind of gives me that feeling of you needing to be able to do that for yourself. We see that here in the Lovers reversed, this need to be honest with yourself, because when you are honest with yourself, you are able to give yourself the most healing and the most positivity, even if it's a hard decision that needs to be made. Kind of like how we discussed before, is that you know what decision needs to be made, even if it is going to lead to something that is very, very painful. I feel like you know what it is. And in the end, it's going to be the best decision for yourself, and it's going to give you the best out of your overall life, learning from whatever decision it is that you have to make. And then, ooh, this card just flew out. So the last card that we have for you today is ask yourself, who am I being today? Now recalibrate. So really focusing and honing in on yourself in who you want to be, instead of just sort of flowing through life, especially if you're somebody that doesn't do a lot of like soul searching and you try not to think about yourself as much as possible. Try to put yourself forward first and change your reality to who you want to be. So again, if you know that you want to be a happy, healthy person and you want to have the best thing for yourself, you have to recalibrate by making this harsh decision, by eating these clean foods, things like that, in order to bring about that healthier, better lifestyle for yourself, whether that's mentally, physically, what have you. I really feel like I'm calling myself out in this reading, so this may have just been for me, guys. Except for the relationship stuff. I'm good on that. I'm good there. But I feel all of this need to even if it's not relationship stuff, now that I said that, it kind of gives me this feeling of almost like, if you're not in a relationship, or you're like, I'm never leaving my partner, like me, it feels almost like this could be a need for you to really skewer that self-doubt that you have, and that the way that you talk down to yourself, and actually make a decision when it comes to that. that was so random and clearly was spurred on by me and my thoughts putting myself into this. But that is kind of what I'm struggling with right now. I'm kind of struggling with the fact that like a lot of aspects of my life are good, but I do have certain things that I know aren't good for me that I keep being like, but what if I continue? What if I try to do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I know it would be a grieving process. So yeah, this, I'm here with you, group 3. I'm pretty sure this is also meant for me to hear. So twinning, yay. So again, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. I know this was a lot. I packed in a lot of information in a short span of time, so I apologize for that one. But again, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of the video. If you liked it, remember to hit the like button. If you are not part of the Crow Coven and you liked the style of how I read, remember to join us for future videos. And also feel free to, if you got to the end of your reading, leave a sun emoji in the comment box below to let myself and others know that you did get this far into your reading. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading for today. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about your April 2024 predictions. So before we get into the tarot, I would love to start off this reading by rolling the astro dice. So we are going to see if we can pull out your zodiac symbol or perhaps those of the people around you, people who will be very important to you during the month of April. So this could be you guys' sun, moon, or rising coming out. The first one we are seeing is Leo. Next we have Aries. So we've got 2 fire signs, first and foremost. And lastly, we have Leo again. So this is intense fire energy. So we're going to try to match that energy with me being loud and excitable. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys. So you guys picked this pink agate crystal that is going to be representing you guys. This does give off this feeling of softness, which is so funny in comparison to the fire that we were seeing of the zodiac signs. But again, we are multifaceted people, and even though you are a hot-headed or could potentially be a hot-headed sign, there is always a softness to people around us as well. It can help in the sense of needing to process certain emotions and being able to connect with people on a more compassionate level. So if that's something that you struggle with, or particularly with a certain person, that can really help you during this time. I think, I'm pretty sure this crystal here also does help when it comes to like parental and like offspring. I don't know why I want to say offspring. Like family member sort of relationships, familial relationships. So if there's been tensions within your family, that can really help during this time. We kind of talked a little bit earlier in the intro as to the collective feelings. So with the collective cards that we pulled, we have the 5 of Wands in the reverse position and the Wheel of Fortune reverse that we are going to keep in mind during this reading. So let's go ahead and get into your cards and see how they relate to the collective. We're seeing Death in the reverse position, the 3 of Pentacles, the 7 of Swords, the Ace of Swords, the King of Swords, woo, and the Hierophant. You have very strong energy coming through just in general, but obviously we see these 2 major arcana on either side coming through. There's a lot dealing with your mental state. There's a lot dealing with, I think, this need and want to kind of step into a newness of yourself that could be potentially held back from either bad mindsets or bad people in your life. Maybe not bad people, but people who do not have what is best for you at the forefront of their minds. The reason why I am seeing this, and this is so interesting to me, is like I did get this feeling of these two cards being very connected with one another before I even pulled the Hierophant, but at the same time, this is not how I read it for the rest of the groups. So it's very interesting that it felt very pulled towards wanting to read it in that way. The Death card, when it's reversed, does talk about this need for change, this almost want for change, needing to have the ending come and so a new beginning can form, but there is a resistance to it. So either you or someone else is trying to keep the status quo. You're trying to keep the peace. And there's this inability to move on from something that has happened or is about to happen. And I felt very connected here with this Hierophant. So this could be almost a figure in your life. If you are somebody who is, while you may be very spiritual, perhaps a person in your life is very, very religious and they're having a hard time seeing eye to eye with you, I'm going to call it out right now. This could very much be a like parental sort of thing. If this isn't like someone who is religious, it could be that they're very traditional and they're having a hard time, again, seeing eye to eye with you on something that you feel very strongly about. We did talk a little bit about that in this gemstone here, with the fact that this could deal with a need to heal when it comes to family members. So for most of you, this could deal with family. This could be very much that there is a need or a want to deal to process and heal from something with a family member. But again, it feels like they're holding you back is the overall feeling. Because again, we were seeing in the Five of Wands reversed this feeling of that there's some sort of disagreement and there's someone is avoiding a conflict that is happening, whether they want it to or not, and a need to focus on our own goals, which is beautiful here with this Ace of Swords. You're going to be able to focus on those. But also in the Wheel of Fortune reversed, it does feel like this is out of your control. It feels like we can't process or even begin to move forward because of these external forces that could be holding us back because they don't want something to change. I'm sorry if these cards are crooked. I'm like trying really hard to move them back. So I'm very interested in why I wanted to read it in that way. I do get this feeling like this could be an overbearing parent. They're not understanding why a child is rebelling. And I say child as in like you could be in your 30s and still be rebelling against your parents. And they could be disapproving of your lifestyle choices and things like that and still be very involved. So whatever age you are, I do feel like that could be the tension. This could be someone that you're romantically involved with. This could even be a friend. It could be anything, but for the majority, I'm getting that feeling, that pull of family. But for some of you, this could be someone in your life, basically, who is just side-eyeing you and not understanding where you're coming from, and they're almost refusing to see past certain things. And that is where we need to have this sort of compassion. If you want to keep this person in your life and you're very determined to keep this person there, you have to really call upon that patience and love and understanding. So let's go ahead and get into this. There's a want for teamwork, I feel like. In that Three of Pentacles, there's a want for you guys to see eye to eye. There's this need to learn. There's something that they have to learn and understand about you is kind of the overall vibe that I'm getting from this. And until they can actually process this, things are not going to be able to be on a level to where you feel comfortable sharing more about yourself. And I'm also seeing in the Seven of Swords that it feels weird because for this card is normally very like sneaky and like someone's trying to get away with something and like deception and stealthiness, things like that. For some of you, it almost feels like you have to act in a certain way to appeal to this person because they are not going to accept you otherwise. For those of you who are in the queer community, you know exactly what I mean. It kind of feels like you want to be your truest self and you want to be very forward about who you are, but it's just so hard to break through to this person. And while maybe you aren't hiding yourself, this could be them saying one thing to your face and then turning around and doing something else. So just be very careful about what level you are standing on. If you see this as yourself trying to be one thing to appeal to the masses or to appeal to this person and then doing something elsewhere, I feel like you need to be more genuine with yourself and you need to have a more take it or leave it kind of mentality. Or you have to look into how much you trust this person who could be potentially doing things on the outside. Again, these cards here did talk about external forces. Some external force is taking this control and power away from you. And so it could be that they are the ones being sneaky. But I do see in the Ace of Swords, there is this fresh, sort of like a breakthrough moment. There is this sort of aha moment. There is some level of victory that is coming your way. And I think you guys actually have the first positive, quote unquote. All the readings are pretty positive, I'd say, but you're the first one that has a very, like, almost like you won kind of emotion behind it. The rest were like, we struggled, but then we got there at the end. But you guys feel very much like you have this strong, raw power that is going to be coming through, that is going to, you're going to very, very quickly learn and understand how to wield this, because you have this sudden mental clarity that is going to hit you like a eureka moment, and you're going to be able to, again, wield that into this King of Swords moment where you are going to be clear thinking, you're going to be able to speak your truth, you're going to be able to really tap into your intellectual side and be able to stand at this level of authority on whatever subject that you are going through. And you're going to be able to speak your truth. So honestly, I do see this feeling of you're going to be able to reverse this death card and you're going to be able to turn this into a new beginning. It's going to transform and transition into something very beautiful. It's just, there is going to be struggle. So for those of you who kind of talked a little bit about it, but if this is a situation where if you are perhaps a trans person and you are trying to come out to someone, this is just how I'm going to see it, because I am trans. I've been through this. I've been through this hardship before. I feel like for some of you, if you are a trans person, I feel like this is going to be your time to shine, and you're going to be able to actually stand in your truth and be able to be like, this is who I am, this is who I was born as. You may not like it, but I'm going to be living my life in this way now, and you're going to be able to get to that point. That same sort of, that was just an example. So even if you aren't trans or you're not part of the queer community and you're trying to come out to someone, it feels like you have something that is so intrinsically part of you that you have wanted to express and haven't been able to because of the judgments of other people. And despite you wanting to work with them, and despite you feeling like you have to hide something about yourself, you're going to finally be able to overcome that. So even if you're not in the community, it does give off this feeling like you have something that you feel like you have to hide because you're going to get judged for it, is just the overall feeling that I'm getting. So this is a very powerful reading. I'm so excited for you guys. This feels extremely positive. Let's go ahead and get into the remainder of your cards, group 4. The first one, oopsies. That was so silly. The first card that I have coming out is, I pulled a card. Okay, I said that because I pulled a card from a completely different deck out of this deck here. And I was like, why is that card there? So the first card that I'm pulling for you is, ooh, this is so good. Freedom. Yes, yes. It feels so freeing to be able to speak your truth, to be able to live as your authentic self. So you being able to come forward with whatever it is that you have been struggling to express, I feel like you are going to have just this overall extreme sense of freedom that is going to bring about such a beautiful, like, positive change for you guys. Well, look at you, group 4. We also have abundance coming out too. So this is going to push you in a very different stage of your life, and it is going to give you a new sense of self. You're going to be able to collect more for yourself, working together with other people. You're going to be able to grow a new life for yourself as well, is the overall feeling that I'm getting for these cards. Any more messages, please, Spirit, for group 4? Please, not a billion. We'll take this one. Ooh, we have citrine that came out, which says, bring in the light. So yes, light and positivity during this point in your life. There's just something overall about you guys that gives off this bright energy. Again, we kind of talked a little bit about the fact that we rolled 3 zodiac signs that were fire signs. Even if you're not a fire sign, it kind of gives off that energy of passion, that I do energy, like I'm going to go and do this and get this done, very action oriented, very like powerful and passionate kind of thing. It's the same sort of feeling, and citrine is a very positive crystal, and it does also talk about abundance as well. So there is just this freshness, this newness that's coming to you guys. Ooh, I'm so excited for you, group 4. Oh my gosh. If you have some, okay, please, I'm so curious. So I normally save this for the end, but if this resonates with you, like if you are a trans person, hello, fellow trans person, I would love to see those flags down below. But even if you're not, but if this resonates with you and you kind of know what it is that you're gonna be talking about, I would love to be in on this secret. I'm a Gemini, so I like to be really gossipy, and this seems extremely positive for you guys. So I would love to know whatever it is that's going on in your life right now. So let's go ahead and keep pulling cards for you, group 4. We have from Sacral. This says creativity and self-love. It is a form of self-love to be so open with yourself and so honest with yourself that you are honest with another person, and you don't stand down when it comes to whatever it is that you believe in when it comes to yourself. So just know that whatever it is that you are making a decision on and you're trying to have a conversation about, that I feel like this is something that is just extremely powerful and something that is going to really boost you as a person. We're seeing a lot of like warm energy too. Obviously we have with the citrine and the sacral as well. I also just got a weird whiff of, I'm currently burning some dragon's blood incense, and it's been kind of in the air for all of the readings that I've done, but I just got hit with like a huge whiff of it, and it has like this very gentle like undertone of like caramely, burnt, sugary kind of honey kind of scent. So that might be something also during this time. Maybe you look into either dragon's blood incense or maybe adding honey. I don't know why, but it just brought an intenseness to my nose that I really wanted to call out. But also looking into your creativity during this time. I feel like your mind is on overdrive. Swords being such a mental card that can really help you when it comes to your creativity as well. So that might be something that you're also focusing on during this time. Ooh, I love it. This is so cool. So we pulled throat. So truth and communication, you need to be truthful, whatever it is. Even if you're so terrified to speak out, there's something that you have to communicate with another person. And I see this as you needing to use your voice. And this can be really, really hard for some people because I don't see myself as someone who is very good with my words. When it comes to speaking, I am so much better at writing, at least I believe I am, especially when it comes to communication, that I can sometimes like have a really hard time and want to avoid using my voice. But this is this feeling like it feels like you specifically have to say the words out loud, overall, is what I'm getting. Very obviously, if you cannot do that for whatever reason, then lean on whatever way you can communicate. There's many factors that could stop us from using our voices. So whatever way is most natural to you, but I feel like if you have the ability to actually use your throat chakra and communicate vocally, that is going to be the way to go. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm like, I don't even know what to do next. I'm like so scattered. Okay, next is going to be self-care cards. So we're going to get into what it is that you can do during the month of April to kind of help guide you. The first one we have is connect with the earth. So with the weather changing, we're going into warmer weather. If you are in the northern hemisphere, it's going to be shifting and changing to the point where it's going to be enjoyable to go outside. So this might be that time where you actually head out into the warmer weather, soak up some vitamin D, really ground yourself when it comes to being physically present within yourself can be extremely important during this time as well. Watch a movie is coming out next. So spending some time either alone or with a little furry pet to watch a movie can really help you in unwinding. Maybe delving into a different world is something that you do in order to kind of not even escape reality, but just sort of get away from the stresses for the time being. If you're someone who's more practical, you could possibly watch documentaries on things related to the stuff that you are interested in speaking your truth on, and perhaps that will give you the courage to push forward. And we also have read. So another very alone sort of self-care thing is reading does give us so much power, and it does give us the ability to gain a lot of knowledge. So you can feel a lot more sure of yourself when it comes to this aha moment and you using your mind, being this clear thinker, being someone who speaks your truth. If you have done proper research, you're going to feel so much better about your station when you get to that point. I'm going to pull just a couple more cards for you, group 4. We already have a great lineup so far. I'm sorry, I need to move these. I was seeing it in the camera and I was like, those are wrong. Any last messages, please, Spirit, for group 4? And I'm feeling so greedy for you guys, so I'm actually pulling 2. Don't tell the other groups because I didn't do this for them. I just feel like you guys need it. Need to hear these things. Oh my god, I love these both. Okay, so the first one is Seko, and this one says allow vulnerability. So there's a need for you to be vulnerable. There's a need for you to open up, break out of your shell, and actually express yourself in such a raw sense. And it can be very, very scary to do that, but you absolutely need to. And I'm going to show you the last card. Is In Memoriam, which says choose to evolve, choose love. Ugh, this is such a good card for this reading. Obviously, it's like you choosing to love yourself and choosing to grow and really progress by speaking your truth, by standing up for what you know is right, and sharing that despite you being scared is going to be so important for you during the month of April. So, oh, I love these cards. This was such a powerful reading. I was not lying when I said I was going to have a high energy, and I brought it. Tarot brought it. The universe brought it. So I'm going to pull one last card for you guys. Sorry, I get so jazzed when things just sort of fall into place easily like that. The last one says, life changes when the way you perceive things change. And then when you flip it around, it says changing your perception changes your life. So honestly, there's something that you need to realize is not meant to hold you back, and it is instead there to help you grow. So even if it feels like a hardship at first, even if it feels very, very scary, there is some sort of need for you to authentically live your truest self. And when you do, you're going to be able to see that perception change, and you're going to be able to start to live a more authentic self, is the feeling that I'm getting. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. I know I packed a lot of information into this in such a short span of time, so my apologies for just like rambling and not breathing and everything. If you liked this video or it resonated with you, remember to leave a like. Also join the Crow Coven and let me know if you joined along. And also, if you guys did get to the end of your reading and you'd like to do so, feel free to leave a moon emoji, a crescent moon emoji in the comment box below to let myself and others know that you chose group 4. Anyway, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. It sounds like you guys are going to have an amazing and very powerful April, so I believe in you. I'm putting in all of my faith into you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.